Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Kayne, I'm happy to have you here. I know that it took a lot of back and forth. Thank you for, following up with me. I've been all over the place. Life's crazy, as I'm sure it's for all of us right now. So I appreciate the dual effort that we put into getting this nailed down. And thanks for your patience in getting here. And also thanks for the commute. Since you don't live in SF, I always feel a little guilty for anybody that has to commute. So, all right, well, you know the routine. We'll take a moment to talk about your story, talk about your background. You've brought some wines today, which is really exciting. I think that it's important for us to talk about what you're doing with Merchants of Thirst and also Deux Punx. But kind of bring us from where it all started. How'd you get in the industry?
That's a great question. Sometimes I ask myself that. I suppose it started by working at my grandparents' restaurant. I grew up in Michigan, in central Michigan, and really in the middle of nowhere, in a restaurant family. I had no choice. Started as a dishwasher, busser, host at 14 years old, working up to server at 16, having the bartenders and everybody else delivering drinks until I was 18 years old, until I could do it myself. And, basically working my way up through that. And then eventually bartending at that same restaurant and having a shift where I was bartending and cooking at the same time. And a snowy day where snowmobilers were coming in and, cooking and taking care of everybody in the same place. And, that's just kind of the way I came up. It wasn't really necessarily a choice. That's just kind of the way it was. Yeah. Just restaurant family.
Yeah.
And, working my way through high school, I always had money through high school for that. I didn't necessarily think of that as a good thing. But now I look back at that as a plus. Absolutely. I moved to Atlanta when I was 18 with my mother and went to college, art school at the Art Institute of Atlanta, and then started working at Houston's restaurant, which is the same as Hillstone restaurant here, which is a very challenging restaurant to work at. Very militaristic restaurant.
Tons of volume.
High volume. And incredible training. Very hard. They would actually line you up underneath of a spotlight before your shift and look for your creases on your shirt. And if you didn't have creases on your shirt, you'd have people that were sharks. Yeah. And the sharks would take your shift, because they were looking to take a shift. And if you didn't have your creases or if you didn't have 3 pens, you're out. So I learned really quickly, to be top server. And you're actually ranked top 20 or top 10 for your restaurant.
Wow.
So I was top 10 server at that restaurant and, made great money in college and, didn't think of this as a life. I went to school for animation and my wife and I, or my girlfriend and I at that time, had no intention of pursuing restaurant life at all and, lived in Atlanta at that time and eventually just wanted to have a different change. And prior to that, I got a job immediately after college in an advertising agency doing animation. And then in 2008, got laid off and we wanted a different change. So we moved to San Francisco with no jobs at all.
Quite different.
Yeah, completely different. And with not knowing anybody at all. And no jobs, not knowing anybody. And we actually would just leave the house and with our resumes, and we would walk left one day and just hit every single restaurant randomly. And eventually I landed a job at Dosa restaurant, worked for about 6 months, and that didn't feel right for me. And then I eventually landed at Nopa restaurant. Actually, I'm sorry. I should backtrack. As soon as I got laid off at my advertising agency, I landed at this restaurant called Two Urban Licks in Atlanta, and I didn't know a damn thing about wine. And they had about, I think, 60 wines on draft.
Wow.
And I kind of fell in love with wine, and it just felt. I don't know. There was just something about it. It just kind of drew me to it, and the managers just for some reason let me do like inventory, and it was this crazy system where they had a scissor lift that brought you up like about 120 feet, and you had to do the inventory, take the kegs and put them on the scissor lift to weigh them.
Right.
And so my friend and I were weighing the kegs, and we would do this every like Tuesday or something. And when we did this, we got like a credit. By doing that, we got like, $50 every week, and we would save them and then buy like a really great bottle, once a month. And then we were buying, like a really nice bottle of Napa Cab. And we thought this was like really baller. And we felt like we knew so much about wine, by drinking like a bottle of Schaefer.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
I felt like I knew so much about wine. And then moving to San Francisco and then starting walking around looking for a job, I was like, I know so much about wine. And like walking down to the Marcadero, like walking to Boulevard with my resume, I was like, I know a lot about wine.
Yeah.
You should hire me.
Yeah.
And they were like, we'll give you a lunch position. And I was like, I'm not going to work a lunch role. And I was like, no.
Lunches at Boulevard back then, it was a lucrative
Of course,
role.
in 2010.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was really great. And I declined.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I don't want that job. And then I walked, to Dosa, and they were like, well, we'll hire you. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I walked to Nopa, and they were like, we'll hire you as a busser. And I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
Why would I want a busser job?
I've been in restaurants my whole life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I started working when I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
So I started working at Dosa, and it was fine. Dosa at that time in 2010 was a pretty cool restaurant. And I worked at the one on Fillmore and the one on the Mission. And it was cool, and moving from the Midwest and then in Atlanta and then eating the spiciest food that I've ever had was really quite eye-opening. And, having Riesling and things like that, I just didn't know.
Right.
And I thought I knew a lot about wine and cuisine, and this was really challenging to me.
Yeah.
And then I realized 6 months in, everybody was talking about Nopa. And this was like the place that you go when you get off work. And I was like, I should probably be working there. And actually my next door neighbor worked at Nopa and was like, they're opening brunch. You should probably just come. They want you to be a brunch server.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'll come and I'll be a brunch server. So about 6 months after moving to San Francisco, I started working at Nopa. I quit Dosa.
Yeah.
And then full-time at Nopa. I ended up working at Nopa for about 4 years. And then realized I knew absolutely nothing about wine. Like nothing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of wild. Like I thought I knew everything about wine, and I think we all go through this.
It's that Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah. Yep. Which was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think there was like so many eye-opening moments, especially, I could talk about so many. My main thing was like having La Pierre Morgon, which was, I think, the number one for me, and it ended up at every single table for Nopa, because it's the most Nopa wine. It works with roasted chicken,
everything,
pork chop, pasta, burger.
Yeah.
And I didn't know at that time that it's natural wine, and that was speaking to me, but there was no word for that. And then like I tried Arbois, wines from Arbois, and I was like, wait, this oxidative Savagnin, why is this happening? And then that blew my mind.
A little different than the Napa cabs at Two Urban Lakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I realized I could have La Gitana Manzanilla,
Mm-hmm.
which had the same qualities to it, but it was like 1/10 of the price.
Yeah.
Which now ends up, that's my business partner for Merchants of Thirst.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which we can talk about not later. But, I mean, these were just like moments that just changed me.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. You know, and then spending time going with the chef and going to the farmer's market and just learning so much about San Francisco and the fresh ingredients and applying that to pairing with the wine. You know, it just became so much more meaningful to me and in so much of a different way. And at the same time, kind of going through the Court of Master Sommeliers at that time, you know, that felt like what I should do. And I think in 2010 to 2012, that seemed like that's what people were doing. I don't know what people are doing now, and I don't know if that's what people are doing now.
I think more now than the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the ship has been righted a little bit more.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because that was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
For me, you know, the formal training for wine. But, yeah, I mean, Noba was it was an incredible place for me. And we lived in the neighborhood, you know, and that neighborhood changed so much from 2010 to 2014.
Yeah.
And just to see that neighborhood change and be connected to that neighborhood, and having lived in in Atlanta and in the middle of nowhere, Michigan, having that connection to a community was profound to me.
Yeah, especially like, you know, getting in at the ground level and then watching, not the ground level, but watching it grow.
Yeah, I mean, they had been open like 3 or 4 years at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It was so cool. And, you know, like Kermit Lynch would come and I would wait on him.
Yeah.
You know, and he would ask me what wine to drink, and I would recommend like Sky's Inn. Like some hippies from Sonoma Mountain.
Yeah.
And like, cause that was so cool to me.
That's cool. Yeah.
You know.
Did he drink?
Yeah, he loved it.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, like he thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to drink French wine.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. And then after Nopa?
So after Nopa, you know, my wife was working at Thirsty Bear during that time. I don't know if you remember Thirsty Bear.
I wasn't here for it.
Okay. So Thirsty Bear was a really, really busy restaurant on Howard Street, which was kind of acting as like an overflow for Moscone Center for like events and things like that.
Got it.
Super, super busy. She started working housing for basically normal hours. And I was working till like 4 a.m, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And she was like, Kayne, you can't do this anymore. Like, I never seen you, you know, and I'm working all the time during the weekends, and we just didn't have a normal relationship in that respect. So I tried to transition to distribution. And in 2014, I started working for the Henry Wine Group, which was probably, based on my palate, not the best choice.
Right.
I mean, I probably could have worked for anybody else.
Good foot in the door.
Yeah. You know, and I don't know why I chose them, but you know, they were the ones that offered me a job, and they had, you know, compensation that helped me be able to do that.
For sure.
And I mean, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I did. Yeah. So I went to them just for 1 year. And then I went to a company called Maritime Wine, which I worked for 1 year as a sales rep. And then about 1.5 years as the Northern California sales manager, managing, I think, a team of about 4 or 5 sales people, where I met my current partner, Antonio Hidalgo, who owns Hidalgo La Gitana, which is a sherry producer in Sanlúcar de Barrameda in southern Spain. and he also owns a a distribution company in Miami.
Oh.
And we decided to start our own company here in California in 2018 called Merchants of Thirst.
Mm-hmm. Was that was right around the time that, I mean, I moved here in 2018 and I remember Maritime being there, and then Maritime kind of disappeared. Were they purchased or?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
To be honest
with
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate my time with them.
Sure.
I didn't stay in touch with any of the people that were there.
That's fine.
So
yeah, I was just curious if
it was a really cool concept though, because they had a wine tasting room, and it was at Columbus and Kearney.
Yeah, it was right in North Beach. I remember it was right near the little coffee shop on the corner, and there was a La Boulange. There's something next to it, but it was
La Boulange and Revive coffee.
Yeah. Tattoo parlor on the other side.
Totally.
Yeah, I do. I really like that location. I can't remember what it is now, but I went in there at one point, looked around, and thought it was really cool when I first got to the city.
Yeah, it was ambitious.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. The and so you've been now doing Merchants of Thirst since 2018, and there's another project, or not even a project, but a winery that you have. When did that kind of come into the mix?
So when I started in 2018, when I started Merchants of Thirst, we just had one producer, really, which was Hidalgo La Gitana.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, tasked with creating an entire portfolio, and I was looking for small producers, and when you don't know anybody, you'll take, anybody that will, work with you.
Give you a chance, yeah.
And I was fortunate to meet my partner, Dan, my current partner, Dan, from Deux Punx, who was willing to work with me. And Dan had another partner, Aaron, who was the other punk, who had moved to Seattle. So really Dan was just un punk for many years. And we started selling Deux Punx wine in 2018. Mm-hmm. So Dan was one of our first producers.
That's awesome.
So Deux Punx was, really one of our first California producers.
Mm-hmm. And then how do you go about building out a portfolio? I mean, are you just kind of going to wine country and knocking on doors, or going to tasting rooms? Or
not at all.
Word of mouth?
Actually, I actually had no intention of doing any California wine when I started the company. Okay. I had a very good friend when I started Merchants of Thirst that I made when I worked at Maritime Wine, Cyril Bonnet from Bonnet Ponson.
Okay.
Which was a champagne producer that I worked with when I was at Maritime Wine. Who was in the transition of purchasing the winery from his father, and kind of in the transition of switching from conventional farming to organic, and kind of changing the wines. And I think switching from Maritime to us was a natural thing.
Sure.
So I called Cyril and I said, "Hey, Cyril, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to fly to Paris and rent a car. Can you meet me in Paris? And let's ride around and introduce me to your friends."
Yeah.
And that's how we started the entire company.
Jesus Christ.
So we hopped in a car and we drove to a small town called Bouligny, which is in Lorraine. And he introduced me to Wilfred Crochet, which was one of our first our second French producer next to Cyril. Wilfred makes amazing wine in Lorraine, which is an area that's really known for quiche, not for wine.
That's so funny.
Wilfred had never heard of natural wine. But I didn't want I had no intention to start a natural wine company.
Sure.
And I don't think of us still as natural wine company. Right. I think we're a Natty Light company.
Yeah.
And Wilfred had just recently taken over from his father and his mother, and his farming. It's a very grumpy man making wine in a very rainy area of France.
Sure.
Incredible wines. And then we hung out with him. Now I import his wines, and he was like my second producer. And then from there we drove to Strasbourg and to Philippe Brand, and I don't know if you know his wines. When I got to Philippe's winery and tasted through his wines, I was in tears. I had never seen macerated wines in 2018, like Pinot Gris, Gewürztraminer, like really, really orange wines in that way. It blew my mind. And I remember calling my wife being like, I cannot believe that these wines exist and nobody's ever found them.
You were just shaking.
Yeah, like I remember they were like rainbow wines. I mean, now this is a very popular thing.
Right, sure.
And it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And then from there we drove to Beaujolais, and we have Chateau Grand Pré. And, I had a friend that then introduced me to Mathieu Coast, who's an amazing Loire producer, and, it's kind of grown from there. But
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Piecemealed it together.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way we've done it. It's just been a very organic way of growing our portfolio. There's been, producers we've met at portfolio shows and things like that, but, it's been friends.
Yeah.
And often these people are friends, and they come and they stay at my home, and they let me stay at their house too. So,
yeah. I love that. It's a little bit more of that kind of like person to person. It's a little more in touch, right? And that's probably similar to the farming practices that and the winemaking practices that you found yourself gravitating towards, a little bit more in touch. I mean, minimal intervention, but like in touch, aware of what's happening, versus just smash it with sulfites, throw it in an oak barrel, and forget about it for 2 years,
Well, it's like you meet somebody that you really appreciate the wine that they make, and you respect their values. You don't have to say, do you trust them? You say, show me wine that you like.
Right.
You know that the wine that they like is going to be the wine that you like.
Yeah. Yeah, the kind of friend of a friend mentality, I think, is really powerful, and it's kind of something that, when starting the podcast, it was something that I thought we needed more of in this industry, which was kind of that network and that ecosystem and that kind of that relationship building aspect, right? And because during the pandemic, all of that kind of went away. On the pandemic part, I mean, what was it like, during the pandemic, working with these farmers so closely? And, what were the conversations that you had with these people? Was it everybody just kind of like cool and super understanding, like the world's basically on pause? I mean, I'm sure there was some fire alarms involved, though.
During COVID, we really didn't bring much wine over from France.
Got it.
We brought Beaujolais and Champagne. And I think some just choice wines. We were really lucky during COVID that we had some deals with Costco, which my partner Antonio was able to coordinate with some kind of private label stuff from Rioja.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
cool. Which
kind of helped us. I was actually just recently looking at the numbers from COVID, and I was like, damn, 2020 and 2021, oof. Like, our margins were excellent.
Yeah.
Because, like, we didn't have a lot going, in, and it was just all out.
Yeah.
But,
it was spoken for before it lands, which is kind of
exactly. And there was just really no expectation to bring in,
right,
because of that.
And I guess that's kind of the benefit of being friends with these people is that there's obviously, like, if you're not doing your job, I'm sure that there's like a little bit of pressure, but part of the like what are we going to do about this? Like, what can we do about this versus kind of like, I don't care, you have to buy the wine anyways. I don't care, pick up a container, and then what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. I think actually the more challenging part was our domestic producers who have more expectations for sales because it's, the warehouses here are, needing their money and, it's not like you're fifth generation and it's okay.
Yeah, it's not like you have your own shipping company or anything like that. I mean, Vinlux is not inexpensive.
No.
Yeah.
Sidekick wants their money.
yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Vinlux, they'll let you leave it there, but the price triples or whatever.
Yes, they'll charge you 4%
days.
per month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, It's insane. And then when did you become partners at Deux Punx? Was there a year?
So
in
actually, Deux
particular?
Punx is really a COVID situation
Okay, got
that
it.
kind of happened.
Got it.
So I found myself a little bit more time and spending more time up in Napa with Dan and helping, not necessarily selling wine,
Sure.
but, wanting to just be more involved. And I had, always wanting to be more involved with our domestic producers, wanting to bottle or, crush or whatever I can.
But you probably never had time. You're doing all these other things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. And now it's time enough. It's kind of like that old Twilight Zone one,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, and I had told my wife I have no interest in being involved in production. I told her this many times. Mm-hmm. And then here we find ourselves in 2021. And I said, Samantha, I want to buy half of Deux Punx. And
I want to be a punk.
Yeah, I want to be a punk. And I'm the most unpunk person. But what's funny is, you have Deux Punx and you have unpunk. Mm-hmm. I'm unpunk.
I see.
Instead of unpunk, I'm actually
unpunk.
But yeah, I truly do love it now because it gives me away from being able to spend so much time in spreadsheets or
yeah.
Everything else and be hands on
mm-hmm.
and involved.
Yeah.
But in 2021 is when we actually were able to buy half of the winery, and I noticed an opportunity because I kind of have an idea of what sells, mm-hmm. and I could potentially invest money and guide this project.
Sure.
And I felt there was an opportunity there.
When you say something like that, I mean, I feel like I've seen many different wines under the Deux Punx label, but I feel like the wine that I see the most regularly now is the Sauvignon Blanc. It's kind of...
Maybe the Orange Chardonnay, probably, because we don't have a Sauvignon Blanc.
I'm thinking...
It's the Cowgirl.
Sorry. What's Cavagna carrying? Isn't Cavagna carrying...
I mean, I could pull up my phone and look.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
It might be the Orange Chardonnay.
Orange Chardonnay.
Yeah, it's the girl with the cowgirl.
That's probably what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That's our most popular wine.
Okay. When you said, being in touch with the market and kind of understanding what was going to sell, I mean, what were the things that they were doing before? Was there help me understand kind of the history of Deux Punx and maybe what their focus on production was.
Dan and Aaron. Dan and Aaron started Deux Punx in 2007. Mm. So while I was in college, so this is before I was really even understanding of wine.
Yeah.
And I think it's just always been a very fun project. Mm-hmm. And when I started selling Deux Punx in 2018, there was just so much wine, and there was Chiraldico and Muscat, and it was just so much stuff.
Yeah.
And all amazing, always very fun. But I think I was able to know that there could be a focus, mm-hmm. and you could guide five SKUs.
Yeah.
And I'm able to know, having sold wine, you could take it and itemize it and guide it.
Right.
And I saw that. And that's where I felt like I could help,
right?
As supposedly being another partner,
kind of organizational.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Dan is amazing, and I think his vision created this. I don't know Aaron, the guy in Seattle. I don't know him really personally, but I mean, Dan and Aaron created Deux Punx, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's awesome. So it was kind of just...
I mean, they had Pinot from Humboldt. They had carbonic Pinot from Oregon, and it was kind of all over.
Just kind of whatever piqued their interest.
But for example, we created a separate brand when I bought into it called De La Soif.
Oh,
because
I feel like I've seen those. Yeah.
I like not punk music.
Sure.
And I like psychedelic rock music and hip hop. So we created kind of separate to kind of differentiate our styles of wine. And the De La Soif wines are like Vin de Soif wine, like easy drinking wines. So now we have 5 wines, 3 for Deux Punx and 2 for De La Soif.
Got it.
So that's just kind of like the guiding style. And moving forward, that's just kind of where we are with it.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have distribution in Japan and other markets, and we didn't have that before.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
is your business with obviously we can talk about tariffs. We talk about tariffs ad nauseum, but has your business with the tariffs in place been severely impacted when it comes to international markets?
It's still very new, and I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, this is the first year. We had this in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2019, it was a very different situation. In 2019, it didn't affect wines over 14%.
Yeah, I forget about that.
And it didn't affect wines that were sparkling.
Mm-hmm.
So we labeled every single wine 14.1%. So we didn't pay tariffs.
Got it.
And we imported a lot of champagne.
That's so funny.
But this year, you can't get around it.
Nothing.
Yeah. And I'm terrified to try to.
Yeah.
Because there's been some serious warning letters to try and avoid it, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
So we tried to bring as much wine as we could, at the start of the year,
mm-hmm.
which lasted me until about 2 months ago.
Right.
And we paid our first tariff, which really hurt.
Yeah.
And another factor is the exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
So in our first orders from Europe this year, our exchange rate was 1.04.
Mm-hmm.
And the first order with the tariff, we paid 1.17
right.
exchange rate.
Yeah.
So that combined with the tariff,
yeah.
Moving forward really makes things really hard.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately has to make us more selective
mm-hmm.
with who we have to pick. And, we were able to go to the fairs and be like, hey, this is really cool wine from Alsace. Well, let's just pick one palette this
mm-hmm.
year, see how it works out. It may not work out. It's just something fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'll try it. We can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
We can't. We don't have the freedom to do that anymore. So now we just have to be like, play it very safe
mm-hmm.
and really only reorder what we know is gonna sell, which really sucks because we've only been able to reorder from maybe half of the producers we work with.
Yeah.
And in turn, our sales have been down.
Right.
16% this year.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty much for everybody.
That feels like an industry standard at this point. Yeah.
So, I don't feel alone saying that. Yeah. But, we're sitting on a bunch of inventory that we normally would have sold. Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry to, our people in France that we wish we could have bought from, but I hope next year we can.
Yeah. But,
it sucks.
Yeah. So it's kind of the softening dollar tied in with the tariff.
Yeah.
I guess we talk a lot about tariffs and we spend a lot of time talking about tariffs, but we don't really spend much time talking about the softening dollar.
That's majorly screwing things over.
Yeah. It compounds the effect of the tariff.
Yeah. I had this huge plan is that prior to the tariff, I was like, they are not going to fuck with, it's okay if I swear.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Zealand wine.
Yeah.
Because New Zealanders speak English.
Sure.
And Trump will not give a tariff to English-speaking country.
South Africa got it pretty fucking hard.
Exactly. And of course, he does.
Yeah.
So I already have it lined up, and I'm working with some, incoming New Zealand stuff, and of course, we get we get it. But fortunately, the New Zealand dollar is much better than the euro, so we have that working for us. But we're still going to be hit with a 15% tariff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating to think when I started in the wholesale side of things, or the distribution side of supplier side. I can't get my head out of my ass apparently. I looked at a wine and I said, why does this wine have to be this price? Can we get it down a little deeper? And the explanation that was given to me was, this wine costs this many euros, then you pay ocean freight, then you pay taxes, then you pay this, then you pay this, then you got to ship it from New Jersey, then you got to pay it, then you got to add on an 18% commission or 30%, you know, the distributor will add 30% or whatever, you know, and then by the time it hits, that's the price. And it seemed like so matter of fact. And I was like, oh, it was like, well, so how do some domestic wineries, there was a winery that I used to work with at Chambers that every year would just raise their price by $5. And, you know, they had a $34 Chardonnay and then it would BTG at $18. And I go like, how do they do that? And you go, who do you think's setting the price? And I go, oh, fuck. Like, it really put a lot into perspective, I think, for me. And that's not to say that, you know, domestic wineries are getting away with robbery, because, you know, most of the time that by the glass price that's out there is funded by the winery. In some cases it's a loss, but it's a marketing budget, you know, that's built into their budget, where they can take an L on this wine to get it out in front of people and introduce it to people. And it's almost kind of a necessary evil. But I mean, it it totally painted a different picture of a margin for me. You know, a €3 wine, €3 wine is landing in the US now and hitting a shelf at $22.
I know, which is wild.
Is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. To think
it used
that
to be like 17.
all the cost is just to get this bottle of liquid across the ocean. Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously the cut to the government now, wherever that's going. And, yeah, it's wild.
I mean, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword, because at the same time, you know, I've always been wanting to increase my domestic portfolio.
Sure.
And I think maybe that's a benefit for Merchants of Thirst.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not all other distributors or importers are focusing on domestic portfolios, and we are.
Yeah.
So, and I think we have an incredible California portfolio, and we are constantly looking for great California producers, and we have amazing California producers, and we have that benefit. So I think that's great for us. And, you know, just this year we've added 2 amazing California producers, and, you know, we have a couple other amazing California producers that you know, we're so lucky to have. So God forbid things go to shit, we can sell California wines.
Yeah.
So
yeah. At least there's something.
Yeah.
You had mentioned, so before we move on from Deux Punx, I know that you brought a couple of the wines, so I'd love to just taste a couple of the wines with you really quick, if you're ready. And then the Beaujolais I'm excited about.
Yes,
too.
I mean, Beaujolais.
If you want to open it, it's not open, so we don't
no.
have to open it.
Beaujolais is my first love.
Yeah.
On the planet.
Yeah.
So we can taste.
It's
that.
not Lapierre, but yeah.
No.
So I'm just fucking with you. Sorry.
No. This is why I brought this wine.
Okay.
So this is Chateau Cambon.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you know this producer. So Chateau Cambon is started by Marcel Lapierre.
Okay.
And what's funny is every year I go to wine fairs, and I always tell my sales team, when you go to the wine fairs, have you ever been to the wine fairs in France?
I've not.
So there's this really big one called La Dive, which is in a cave in Samour, and all of the top producers are there. Yeah. And I always go Chateau Cambon. I go Lapierre, Chateau Cambon, and I always taste with them every year. I would say, I love your wines. Yeah. My wife and I served Lapierre at our wedding.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I said, Marie Lapierre. I tasted with them every year. And I said, Marie, it's so great to see you. She said, 2 years ago, she was like, oh, so good to see you. We need a new person in California.
Wow.
They own Chateau Cambon.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to Alex. Alex is the new proprietor of Chateau Cambon.
Got it.
They bought Chateau Cambon in like the 90s or something like that. It's, you know, the offshoot of Cambon, or of Lapierre.
That's awesome.
So Chateau Cambon is like started by the Lapierre family and Jean-Claude Chardonnay, which are both Carmelish producers. So kind of very close to me because it's Lapierre and it's my favorite producer.
Yeah.
But now it's Merchants of Thirst.
That's sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is Lapierre was one of the gang of 4? Is that?
It is.
Yeah.
And Jean-Claude Chardonnay.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. Oh, we're all 4 Kermit?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I could never remember if if all 4 were Kermit, but that seems to make sense.
Yeah, but Cambon is not really like appellated.
Sure.
It's just this really special place.
But this is brewery.
Brewery, they part of it, like a very small part
Got
is
it.
brewery.
Yeah. When I worked at Chambers, we sold Demindafa, which was Grio's kids' project. What was Grio's project that his kids took over, and they were in Bassett, which was right outside Centimore as well. So effectively non-appellated, but just I don't want to say like, do the appellations really matter? Obviously they matter, but it's a lot of fucking great juice out there that has no recognition at all.
Yeah, but at Morgon, Fleury and Brewery, in my opinion, they're just so special to me. When I visit, it's just, even the food there, the people, they're just the kindest, most like easy people, and they're just so welcoming. And they're just, I mean, internationally, when we think of these wines as, I think of Beaujolais as, like, you know, the top wines in the world to me. But I think internationally, people don't.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, for me, Champagne and Beaujolais is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I need.
We do every year on the 1st. We always do Beaujolais Day, and we get a bunch of people together, and everybody's responsible for one of the crus of Beaujolais. We get everybody together and we try all the crus of Beaujolais. One year we had like some Beaujolais Blancs and some Rosés and stuff. It was super cool. We're trying to get a little bit more structured into like suggesting certain producers, because, you know, some of the producers that people would bring would be like ultra classic and some would be minimal intervention. And, you know, we're trying to just go like, okay, well, these are the top 3 from this region. Just get one of them. And it doesn't matter, you know, or some people would get like, not that like, I don't want to be introduced to new producers, but if you're going to the store and you're buying a $10 bottle from Total Wine that's Cru Beaujolais, or, you know, or you're going to buy it from Flatiron, or, you know, somebody else, some of the people that really spend a lot of time and put a lot of effort into attaining their crus, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So.
You know, I think what's also what's interesting to know is that Beaujolais was one of the first regions in France to be natural as like a whole,
right?
You know, and just really adapt, or, you know, just champion that.
Yeah. It's always funny. I the conversation always comes up, you know, with, as you can imagine,
and
different
I hate
age ranges.
Natural as a term,
right?
Because I don't want to be the natural guy.
Sure.
And I'm sure you've had people on here that are like, fuck natural wine, or like natty. I don't want. This should be wine for everybody.
Yeah.
There's nothing flawed about this wine. It's just absolutely
flawed.
delicious wine.
Yeah.
And there's something about, like, that's what, when I served La Pierre wine to my tables at Nova, they drank this wine and it was like, what is different about this wine? It's just juicier and fresh and easier. This is that.
Yeah, for sure.
It brings me back to that moment.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many producers out there that are like natural producers and have always been natural producers. You know what I mean? And I think that like this this dogma around natural wine or non-natural wine, and the inverse of that, is always just this funny thing to me, because it's like, some of these people have been doing this for generations.
Yes.
You know, they just do it really well. And then some people started doing it recently. Some people are just, you know, bandwagoning, and they're like, oh, natural wine's on the rise. I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Put it in there, make it look an interesting color, and there you go. And so I've said this about the rosé trend in the early 2000s too. There's a lot of bullshit that came along with it, but there was a lot of really good stuff that came along with it too. And but in the natural wine sense, there's a lot of producers that have been here for a very long time that are still.
I mean, it's a spectrum, I think.
Right.
You know, I could talk a lot about this.
Sure.
And I don't want to get too deep in it.
Sure.
Because I maybe piss some people off. But, you know, you should be delicate about it.
Yeah.
Take care of the wine. Don't let it taste bad.
Yeah.
If it needs some sulfur, put some in it.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
It needs to travel from France. You know, it may need to travel from Napa to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Not everybody can afford temperature controlled containers.
Absolutely not.
There's a lot of variabilities that go into shipping this 750 milliliter bottle across the fucking globe.
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah. I think you nailed it. It's a spectrum. You know, and I think everybody falls in a different.
And I think
spot.
You know, it's great if you like wines that are on the edge, and sometimes I do.
Yeah.
you know, and when they are on the edge, sometimes there's something really cool about that.
Yeah.
And right before it falls off,
Yeah.
there's something really cool about
Right.
that. But when it falls off, there's something not cool about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of times that, like, you know, so many people are like, oh, flaws. And, you know, there's a lot of people that somebody goes, oh, do you want to try some of the wine? And they pour it in my glass. And I go like, oh, that's got TCA.
Yeah.
You know, but the tolerance level for everybody is different. Whatever the flaw is, you know, there's different sensitivities. And it's kind of like, at the end of the day, the wine is meant to bring us together, not push us apart.
Sure.
And it's unfortunate that
Well, I think there's certain flaws that are acceptable.
Sure.
Like, in general.
Yeah.
I mean, TCA is not.
Right.
I mean, VA to a
Right.
certain extent.
Yeah, a lot of the great Italian.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Sicilian wine,
Mm-hmm.
you want it to a certain extent. You know, Frappato needs a little
Yeah.
bit of VA.
Brett in some cases.
Yes,
can be
from
great.
Southern Rhone,
Yep.
you want that.
Yeah.
But
what,
like
what would be
Mouse,
Rias
none.
without? Well, yeah. Yeah, Mouse is one that's challenging.
That's
for
none.
me.
You can't.
Yeah. I'm not.
Have you
I've
seen
never
our
really
logo of
understood
our
the
company
appeal.
with the cat?
Is it a cat?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to ask you, this is one of the things that I wrote down and I underlined, or I didn't underline, but it's here, was the animation. Did you design the logo for the company?
Well, so no.
Okay.
My friend who I went to animation school with did.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Who works for Archer,
Uh-huh.
the cartoon
Right.
Archer.
Yeah.
And it's based on the LaPierre guy squeezing the grapes.
Oh, that's funny.
But it's
Okay.
the cat because he's killing the mouse.
The mouse. I love that. Okay. All right.
And I think mouse is unacceptable.
I love that.
Period.
Yeah. That's funny.
And that's really the only one, period, that is absolutely unacceptable.
Right. That and TCA are out.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
TCA is
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you.
universally TCA, but mouse only happens really in natural wine.
That's true. Yeah, that's really the only time we have to worry about it. And then what else do we have over there?
So 2 new wines.
I don't want to rush through, but I could
No.
sit and just drink these for the rest of the night.
A label that's not allowed in Japan.
Oh God!
Which
I can't wait to hear this explanation.
Our importer just picked up, and she wouldn't take this wine. Maybe we should try the Pinot first.
Sure. This one here.
Yeah. So I think Deux Punx is kind of transitioning at the moment, and it's maybe a 2 or 3 year transition. But yeah, you'll see. Maybe you can see for yourself in the wines that you can try if you follow along with us. So this is a Russian River Pinot Noir from River Road Vineyard in close to Guerneville. So destemmed, pretty traditional fermentation. 11 months in neutral oak.
Good.
Super lean.
Yeah, lean,
Electric,
lean,
light and
mean,
fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, we just bottled it about 2 weeks ago, so I think it still needs a little bit of time.
Yeah, but it's still great to see things coming out of Russian River that aren't just like
No, it's
jam
not that
packed with
style.
fruit and booze. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's what I've come to expect out of Carneros
Yeah,
and
it's
Russian River. And
Russian River without the gloss.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of a one-off. The new one this year is from Carneros, farmed by the guys from Le Lune, which we love buying fruit from them, and that's where this one's coming from, also from Le Lune guys.
It's cool. It has so much saltiness to it too.
Yeah,
it's just
that's one thing that
really cool.
Yeah, I was doing the tasting notes this week, and I was like, salty as fuck.
Salty as fuck.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's a very gastronomic wine, though. Like, this is the kind of wine that you'd want to just, like, crush food with, you know? Which is something that, in a way, I feel like the American wines kind of went away from for a long time, you know? With Parkerization, you know, people would say Americans like to chew their wine or eat their wine, not drink it, you know? This is very much a wine that I'm immediately hungry as soon as I drink.
Well, I think that's, you know, I'm adopting the punk style.
Sure.
As an unpunk.
Unplugged? Yeah.
But I think it shows in our wine more than my music style.
Sure.
That it's just a opposition of California winemaking style.
Right.
Maybe not winemaking style, but style of wine.
Yeah. Maybe the homogenization of that style that just kind of came with the times, and it's great. I mean, we're seeing more and more producers kind of shy away from that and focus more and more on terroir, and even the West Sonoma Coast appellation becoming a thing is like we're getting more terroir specific. And who's producing wines out there? People that are not using mountains of oak. That's the point.
Well, it's
of
interesting.
The
West Sonoma Coast is everything west of Highway 101.
Right.
There's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of room.
There's also 40 miles west of there. So, I mean, this is Fulton, California. So, really close to where Derek Trowbridge is. There's a lot of space. I mean, still consider West Sonoma Coast. But,
for sure.
I don't know if I consider it West Sonoma Coast, but technically, yeah.
And what's the inspiration behind the label there?
So, funny you ask. We have friends. People ask us all the time. We just say make a label with no inspiration.
Sick. That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I like the texture on it,
I think that turned out really cool.
Yeah.
It looks like it's sewed onto it.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. It looks like a little cross stitch.
Yeah, so this one's our friend Chad from San Diego. Yeah.
Do you give a little credit on the back? Do you say
no?
No. Cheers to Chad.
No. Chad's kind of our graphic guru, so he does
cool.
our back labels and everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then this next one is the one that's not allowed in Japan?
Yeah, well, Japanese, I don't know if it's I don't think they want nudity on labels.
Sure. Yeah.
But our Japanese importer wouldn't choose this wine because of the label.
Maybe nudity and alcohol are
but
a great mix.
I'm labeling this on our portfolio as fucking Merlot.
Yeah.
FCK and Merlot.
We're a little less conservative here, I would say. Fucking Merlot.
This wine's a little bit personal to me.
Yeah.
In 2024, I moved to Glen Ellen. And I can see Sonoma Mountain from my window. And this is Sonoma Mountain Merlot. I really like this wine. I think it needs a little bit more time, maybe a week or two more before it's going to open up a bit. But out of barrel, I love this wine so much.
Was this just bottled as well?
Yeah.
I can't tell you if I've maybe ever had a Merlot that's 12.2% alcohol.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I mean, again, we're getting fruit characteristics without the weight and the mouthfeel of alcohol volume.
This is us trying to make a real wine, a serious wine.
Yeah.
Everything we do is destemmed always, and this is the last wine of our last space. We just moved to a new winery, so there's something special about this wine to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't make it this year, so.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of maybe dig in a little bit on something. You mentioned starting out in the restaurant industry at your grandparents' restaurant in Michigan. You're 14, washing dishes. You're 16, serving. You can't run drinks in Texas. You couldn't run drinks until you were 18 either. And then started bartending / cooking at the restaurant at 18. In the same shift.
Yes.
I think I'm interested to hear your thoughts as to, do you think that being able to do all those things from a very young age is part of what made you great at kind of fostering relationships? Because when you're in a restaurant, you're forward facing, you're interacting with people all the time, whether you're in the dish pit or not. If you're bussing tables, you're kind of interacting with people. But kind of doing all of those different jobs, do you feel like it's been beneficial to kind of keep you from being, some people get a job and then that's their job for the rest of their fucking life. You know what I mean? But do you feel like the kind of constant shifting around changed the way that you think about things maybe?
I think so. I mean, I think the different perspectives of things absolutely helped. And I think, spending time behind a bar at a young age, especially prior to being able to drink, made me realize that at a very young age that people want to talk about themselves. And I learned that at a very young age. Yeah. And it was reiterated with sales training, that you lead people. I'm sure you've been through sales training, that you lead people in the way they speak. Yeah. And I did that as a kid.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hospitality industry is I think everybody should have to spend a little bit of time in the hospitality industry, whether it's to have greater respect for the industry or whether it's to just kind of like learn how to be kind to another human, learn how to talk and interact with other humans. I think it would be an incredibly valuable thing for all of us.
Yeah. I mean, we did, when I worked at Henry Wine Group, Peter Neptune was our, master sommelier guy. Yeah. And we did like a very intensive, like one-on-one with like 3 people thing. And he said, you always know the most interesting person in the room he's the guy asks nothing. Like he just asks like leading questions.
Sure.
Be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I took that very personally. And you can be that guy and nobody will ever know. And I've taken that very, very, very personally, and it's I don't know where that's taken me. Yeah. But
well, I mean, I think that anytime that we can get out of our heads and anytime that we can think about life from a different perspective is incredibly valuable. You also mentioned Houston's, which I worked at the Landry's Corporation, and for me there was a lot. And then I worked at Glazer's, which was kind of not that this is necessarily the maritime, but it was kind of like I want to get out of the restaurant industry, and this is the step. But Houston's, with the rigid training and the 3 pens and the crease, it just takes me back to my time at my first fine dine, Rudy and Paco's in Galveston. And it's so funny because I've worked at lots of wonderful restaurants in San Francisco, and there's obviously an incredibly high level of attention to detail and everything like that. But we used to get the same thing. If you didn't have a crease in your shirt, you went home. If you didn't have 3 pens, you went home. If you didn't have the restaurant was too dark, but that's the way he liked it, so you had to carry a black flashlight. You didn't have your flashlight, you go home. Yeah. And that was just kind of like the standard, and it held you to such a high standard. But I think it also taught you to take like a lot of pride in your work and what you do.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think I also lost a lot of sleep about that, And, waking up in the morning, be like, oh, fuck, I forgot to drop off my shirt at the dry cleaners. Yeah. Or, like, wearing a shirt too big because it's my roommates,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it taught me a lot. Yeah. And that's absolutely the reason why I got the job at Nopa. Right. Because when I went in to interview, one of the managers worked at Nopa.
Ah, okay. Yeah. The time at Nopa, I mean, it must have been incredible. But Dosa and the Riesling thing is really fascinating for me. And you kind of have this, throughout the story, it was kind of like never knowing enough, right? It was like, I know a lot about wine. I don't know shit about wine. I know a lot about wine. I don't know shit about wine. Do you feel like, even where you're at now, you're still discovering lots of amazing things about wine?
I still feel like I don't know that much about wine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still feel like I'm learning daily. I mean, and now I'm like, where are we in the wine industry? And what is the future of wine? I don't know what that is about wine.
That's true. Yeah.
I feel like I have confidence about this type of stuff.
Sure.
But I don't know the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, none of us do. If we did, we'd be playing the lottery.
I mean, and I was inspired by Terroir, this bar, and I don't know if you ever went.
I don't think so.
In San Francisco.
Was it downtown?
It was 7th and Folsom, where Slut's the wine bar.
Oh, I think Terroir was before me too.
Yeah, it was the best wine bar ever in the United States.
Yeah. I don't think
ever. that one changed me.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I didn't know a damn thing. I walked into that wine bar thinking I knew everything, walked out the first time knowing nothing.
Right.
And like that was like a revelatory moment for me. And that happens to me every couple of years.
Yeah.
And I look for these moments. And like when I went to Japan last year, that happened to me again.
Right.
And like I'm looking for these moments, future moments, and like where am I going to find that again? I don't know. I want it again.
When you went to Japan, was that specifically in the wine industry in
Well,
Japan?
we went. My partner Dan and I went last year for Raw.
Oh yeah.
To find a distributor. We went knowing nobody, and then by the end of it, we had a distributor. And then I went back this year with a distributor or with an importer, and it was the best moment ever. And maybe now I'll find an importer in Philippines, and I'll have the same moment. Like, I just want these. Like, I'm continually looking forward to these moments that are just like the food in our wine pairing in Japan. Have you been?
No, I haven't been. My wife's been twice.
It's beyond different than everything that we have.
Yeah.
It's different. Everything's different.
Yeah.
Like the way that they think about wine and food is not the way we think about wine and food.
Sure. Well, that's almost kind of everywhere besides
like the
us.
way that my importer is asking us what she wants in wine is not the way that we are asking about wine.
Sure.
It's wild to me.
Yeah. In what way? Can you elaborate on that?
What the Japanese people want in wine is not what American people want in wine.
As in they're kind of looking for, are they asking for body? Or are they asking for story? Or are they asking for...
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's just about flavor profiles.
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reassuring.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want no red wine.
Really?
Yes, none.
I mean, I wouldn't either if I had all
like
that
the most
incredible
popular
seafood.
wines are like Radicon and
No fucking
like
way.
Grafner.
That's so cool.
Yes.
I love that though.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I mean, that gives me a lot of... I shouldn't say that it gives me a lot of hope as if I didn't have hope, but I think
you
that's
can go
fascinating.
and drink Avenois as much as you want.
Yeah.
Like it's everywhere. And like every bar gets it because the market is so cool.
Sure.
That like the importers get it because they want to sell it there. That's what's wild about it.
I feel like, you mentioned this coming to San Francisco part as like another eye-opening experience, after working at the Urban Licks with the wines on draft and then moving to San Francisco, working at Doza and Nopa, and really having your eyes opened. It was similar. I moved to San Francisco thinking like, well, I've been in distribution for 3 years at Glazers and then Southern Glazers and know a lot about wine. I knew a lot about wine, but I knew a lot about wines that were big enough that they could import to Texas. We used to get like 20 cases of Raffinelli a year. That was like Texas's allocation of Raffinelli,
Sure.
So I knew of Raffinelli, but I never had Raffinelli.
Totally.
One of the first wineries my wife took me to was Raffinelli, and I was just like, oh, fuck, I can't believe I'm tasting this,
now you're like, Raffinelli.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they're a stalwart. They're great.
Yeah.
They're a staple, I still have a lot of respect, but is that something that I would drink every night?
No.
Probably not.
Of course not.
Yeah. But with, you got a hopper, got a House of Prime Rib.
Sure, of course.
Yeah,
it
I'm
works.
drinking that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's so funny because we go to Oregon every year to visit our family, and we would go to Portland, and there was this great shop called Park Avenue Wines, and they've closed unfortunately, but I'd go in and they'd be like the high-end bottlings of Dauphiné, and there'd be like Emmerich Knoll and FX Pichler all over the shelves, and they're just like stacked and stuff, and I'm like, how do you guys get so much of this?
I remember
like,
seeing
we can't
Knoll
sell
in
it.
wine shops in Portland and being like, you have Knoll Rosé?
Yeah.
What?
You got Knoll out of mag? Like, what is this? Yeah. And they're just like, yeah, we can't sell it.
Yeah.
So I think there's just so much world to be discovered, and I think we're lucky.
Yeah, but if you go to New York City, you're like, do you have, just, I'm trying to think of something really commonly found. Deux Punx.
Right.
Of course, they're sold out because we don't have a distributor there anymore.
Yeah. Oof. That one hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the one other thing that I have written down that I want to touch on really quickly in the notes here is kind of this north-south tasting things that you guys did recently at Little Vine and at Butcher Bar. We lost one of our cameras. At Little Vine and at Butcher Bar. And, you know, I not even necessarily need you to expand upon this. I just want to congratulate you, I guess, on the efforts that you're putting in. I mean, you guys are really working your ass off, and you're doing a lot of tastings.
Thank you.
And as a small company, I can't imagine the amount of work that it takes to, I don't want to use the term stay afloat, but to stay alive in the economy that we're in. So,
Oh, thanks.
yeah. Thanks for everything that you guys do.
Oh, appreciate that. Well, that was their kind of annual portfolio tasting,
Yeah.
or what we'd like to be semi-annual. You know, we really love Los Angeles. You know, it was really amazing. The one in LA, I was able to coincide with 3 Fish concerts that happened at the Hollywood Bowl, and take my entire team with me to one of the Fish concerts.
That's so cool.
Happened to land that way.
Yeah.
Randomly.
Yeah. That's so funny. Somehow.
Yeah, somehow that happened.
Yeah.
And then we were able to do it the next week up here in San Francisco. You know, it's always really great to do that. It's always really challenging to get people to come out, especially up here for some reason. LA shows up.
Yeah.
I don't know why. LA shows up. Bay Area harder.
Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment of riches in a way. You know, I had our VP of sales was out and just trying to wrangle together some appointments, and everybody's like, I'm busy. There's 5 portfolio tastings this week.
Yeah, totally.
Jesus Christ.
Totally.
You know, we're very lucky.
I mean, LA, you have a population of like 16 million people, and here you have 1 million.
Yeah.
And you have more reps, more pressure on the market.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I love San Francisco. I lived here for 15 years. I love San Francisco. I hate to say, like, I think I like selling wine more in LA because it's easier to find parking and people are nicer.
Yeah, people are nicer. Yes.
But, I love my San Francisco people.
Yeah, for sure. No, I hear you.
But I don't know. There's just something easy. Like, LA is just a friendlier place.
Yeah. My wife and I talk about it all the time.
But,
we're like driving super aggressive and like put on our signal and somebody gives us room and we're like, do we wave? What do we do when somebody lets us in? Do we wave?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know. I mean, this city's incredible.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, this entire city is smaller than Santa Monica.
Totally. Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah. Wow. What do you think about the white? Do you want any more wine in your glass?
Sure.
Want a little rest? This is a wine. So, you know, I don't always say that the wine is necessarily blindable.
I'm horrible at blinding.
That's okay. Do you enjoy it? That's the most important
I do.
question.
It's waxy.
Yep. It's a wine that, having never met you and knowing the little about your portfolio that I did, you know, prior to coming into this conversation, I wanted to pull something that I thought resonated with what you guys do, and that is, you know, minimal intervention wine that's done well, and it's a clean wine, right? So it's Cristiano Tiberio's Trebbiano 2024 from Abruzzo.
I love Italian wine. I just don't know anything about it, which is unfortunate.
Not yet.
I know. We started with it's funny. We started
when
with
the tariffs go away.
I know. During in 2019, there was no tariff on Italian wine.
Oh,
which was weird.
Yeah.
So like I jumped in Italy, and I had like 5 Italian producers, and then as soon as it dropped, I was like, "Sorry guys, let me go
back to France."
Not that like anything. I love Italy so much, but I just don't know. Like geographically, I don't know.
Sure.
Like I go to France and like I just know, like I have my network,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
But we work with a importer called Hootenanny Imports.
Hootenanny.
Yeah. It used to be Indie Wine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's our kind of our Italian people.
That's funny.
But I love Italian wine and we want more in our book.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still absolutely delicious.
Good. I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing.
Any words of advice for listeners? Any statements you'd like to make to the world or the listeners? Rather?
I would say, you know, keep tasting. You'll never know enough. If you think you know, you don't. Keep going beyond. You know, push. You know, if you feel like you've hit the hill, go down. There's another hill behind it.
Yeah. That's well said. I love it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.